Hello and welcome once again to the Rugged Rockhound. As you can tell, I'm not wearing my hat because I'm inside and I'm learning to do lapidary. Hey Alan, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
Awesome. So he is teaching me lapidary. I was actually here earlier this week and he took me through learning how to do a cabochon, and I did my first cabochon. I forgot to bring it, but it looks like one of these. So it's some of that tube agate that we found. What's it been, like a month now?
It's been about a month.
About a month?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he's playing around with a few pieces of it, but I went ahead and start to finish, got to see what it was like doing a cabochon, so yes. And now I brought some of the precious opal that I've got from Spencer, and we've started looking at it. This is one of those big thick ones that we're looking forward to, but we're going to hold off on that one because it's kind of a bit of a monster. But this one looks like a good one. We're going to try and get the color bar, and he's been marking out for me kind of where to cut off, and then we'll start grinding down and we'll try to get to the opal. So this is my first time trying to film a lapidary video, and we're gonna see how it goes on the GoPro. Obviously I'm gonna have to switch to the macro lens so we can really see what's going on. He's got a nice wheel here, so we'll start shaping the opal, and we got a saw over here to trim it down before we start shaping it, and then go all the way to the polish. So I'm excited. Here we go.
This will be good. This will be good.
Okay, now that I'm back at home, here's that cabochon that I made that I didn't actually film myself making. My first cabochon over there, using Alan's equipment. Huge thank you to Alan for teaching me and letting me borrow it. But yeah, this is some of the tube agate that he originally found when we got to that pyroclastic unit. Alan's first time out with me. So there it is. That was fun. So Alan, can you tell me, kind of give the rundown of how we're going to do this?
Okay, so these are Spencer opals, and they are deposited in layers. All opals are deposited in layers. They're layers of silica that gets, as it's deposited, it'll form a little layer, then a more deposit and more deposit. Some of those layers, when the molecules line up just perfectly, reflect color. So what we've done is there's a pink color bar, and I've just kind of marked out where that color bar is with a little bit of blue marker, and it's going to be flat. So we're going to cut off and trim out all the excess that we don't want. Then we're going to remove the common opal from the top down to that color bar. And then once we get to that color bar, it's a thin enough color bar that we're going to make a triplet out of it. So then we'll glue it to a dark basalt background. And then once that's done, we'll cut off the excess from the other side, grind back to the color bar again, and cap it with a crystal cap.
Okay, we've got a little mount here. Hopefully this will give a good view of what we're doing. So here I am going to cut these pieces off. Let's do it. So there we go, we cut that part of it off. Now we'll cut these parts. Nice, we got that part cut off, and I can see we didn't get into the colors, so very, very good. Now, cut the base. Oh, it had some major fractures in it.
Fractures, well, that's all right.
Yep. So I cut it off, and we found that we had some major fractures going through it. Unfortunate, but now that we know where they are, we can work around it. And there we go. We've isolated the three pieces that have the color, this being the best piece right here. That having some there, and this having a little there. Should be enough on each of them to work with. All right, here we are at the wheel. I'm going to take the medium-sized piece one first because I kind of want to make sure I know what I'm doing, because I haven't done this before I start working on the one that's definitely going to be the best. So the color bar is right in there. There's actually two color bars. So we're going to grind this down until we get down to it. So here we go. that water going. All right.
Then we're going to switch to this one.
There's even a color bar further down that we couldn't see from the outside.
Yep, there is.
But that's the thick one right there.
Yep,
the
that,
thickest
we
one.
want that thick one.
That's the one I want. There's that color bar. Okay, it's starting to come through right there. I'm a little off right there still. And there we go, we've got the color coming through now. Alright, now we've moved down to this.
This would be a 600 grit.
600 grit?
Solid diamond wheel. So now we're just going to take lightly and is that in focus there?
Right about there.
Okay, so you should be able to see there's a really, really bright pink flash here. We're right on top of the opal, but it's not quite so bright on this side. So what we're going to do is we're going to take off the back side. And don't take much, but see how now it's starting to show brighter and brighter.
Yeah, I'm seeing it. I hope the camera's picking it up. But
so
I'm
going to go ahead and
definitely
let
seeing
you
it.
go ahead and finish.
That's cool.
But yeah, now we're just taking out those scratches so that when we glue it to the back, you know, we're right on the color bar, but they're just enough scratches to hold it, but not enough for them to show it.
That is so cool.
So Trent's
cool.
talking about leaving the matrix material in on the side, which is a great option. It looks really good.
All right. Yeah, that sounds like fun. I think I'm gonna do that. So it's gonna be like half opal and half matrix.
Yep.
So we finished prepping that other one, ready to glue to the back of it. So what I'm gonna do now is grind down these two pieces as well, so that we've got all three of them ground down and ready to glue to the back of them. So, because we got to make triplets with these. So, yeah, so I'm gonna grind down these ones too. This one I had to where it wanted it, and then this one, as you can see, it's now starting to get all over.
Ooh, that's a nice broad flash too. So that's nice.
All right, I think we got them where we want them. Start doing it on this one now. Turn the water off over there, turn the water on over here. Start with the smaller one here.
Okay, so what we've got is the opals that Trent just ground, and I've got a piece of basalt right here. And what we're going to do is we're going to clean them. This basalt is flat and it's already been ground down to 600 grit, so it matches. But I've got some acetone, and we're just going to clean it, make sure that there's no residue on any of the surfaces that we're going to glue up. Okay, so next, let's cover that so we don't kill ourselves with the smell. So the next, I've just laid down 3 strips of painter's tape. We're gonna mix some epoxy. This is epoxy 330, and it's equal parts. And there's
There we go.
and then we'll just take a little bamboo skewer, barbecue skewer, and we're going to roll the resin and the hardener together, not too aggressively. You'll see there's some bubbles that are starting to be introduced.
Yeah, and you don't want those bubbles.
We don't want the bubbles, so we've got a way to take care of them, but we don't want any more than we need. So I just kind of roll it back and forth, and that's pretty much mixed. I'll make it into a pile, leave my skewer there, And then to get rid of the bubbles, we're going to just take a little bit of heat and really lightly go over that epoxy. It's going to activate it. Epoxy's cures with heat, but that it thins the epoxy and allows the air bubbles to escape is what it actually does.
That's nice.
So then we'll just take a little bit of that epoxy and we're going to coat that opal completely. Plenty of it. And then I'll put it on basalt and I'll just kind of rub it and push it down a little bit. And that's, then we will do the next piece. And then we'll let those cure for 24 hours.
All right.
And we can cut them apart and do the same thing all over.
Awesome.
Tomorrow we'll grind down. I've got 2 that are glued up. So tomorrow we'll cut them off and grind them back down to what this is.
So you might not be able to see. There we go. We're getting some flashes there.
So we can.
That's a very thin one.
It's a very,
The
very
one I've
thin
got's
one.
much thicker. So.
Yeah. So, but we'll put that epoxy after we grind it, and then we'll put a quartz cap on top of it, and then that'll magnify with the dome. It'll magnify it and it'll protect it, and it'll give us a really nice stone to work with.
But now, while we're waiting for that, we can do some other things. So the next thing I really wanted to do is, ever since I first started collecting Variscite at what's called Clay Canyon, I've wanted to take and polish them, but I've never had the tools to do it. So the next thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to take these and I'm going to try, well, I'm going to grind them down and polish them, pretty much flat face. But that should be really cool. I've been looking forward to doing it with these. And here we go. So we're going to walk it down the line, starting at the, what are all the different grits here?
So the first is 80 grit.
80?
The second is 180.
180.
That's a 220.
And then when we jump over to the ones further down.
600, 1200, and 3000.
Okay, 600, 1200. All right. This is feeling nice and pretty smooth, so now we're going to move down to the next wheel. All right, I've done the first 3. I'm now down to the, what was it, 600 again? 600. And I'll do these 3, and then we'll see if it's all polished. Make sure all the scratches are gone. If not, we have to go back and go over it again. So here it is. Here's one piece of it all polished up. I'm going to actually intentionally glare the light just so that you can see how smooth that is. But yeah, I've been wanting to polish these for a long time. So there's the first one polished, and I'm done. I have now polished both of these. So let's get a good look at these. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? And we'll take a look at the other one. Got them both polished up nicely. So I've decided the next one I want to do is polish up this one. So if you remember, this one had a cool spray in it. So I've been wanting to polish that up. It's really small though, so we're going to dop the back of each of these and we'll just polish them up like that. And that should be pretty neat. So that's what I'm going to do next. So here he is dopping it after he melted it. Now he just puts it on and cools it off with his finger and adheres it. First one's cooled off. We are ready to start grinding on this one, and we'll grind it down to a polish. Water on. And away we go. So I've got a pretty good polish on it. I think I can see a few little scratches, but other than that, it's pretty nice. So there's one half of it. Let's go ahead and get the other half done. So this is where I'm at. So I got a really nice polish on that one. That one turned out really well. This one I'm struggling with. I'm going to have to come back to it because I'm kind of out of time today. So we still got a bunch of scratches to get out on this one. So I'm going to work on this at another time to finish that one. So that's where we're going to end this one. We're just going to end it with those. And there you have it, my first, well, polishing video. I didn't actually make any cabs on this one like I did last time I was here, or instead just polished up 2 different specimens, mostly, and then prepped some of these precious opals to eventually turn them into something beautiful. So stay tuned to the next one where we're going to actually do that with those opals and get them all the way done. Until next time, there's treasure everywhere.